I will have the lyrics down here and I will look at them and explain them. I will probably not directly quote them. Okay, at one point the song offers to teach us the definition of nouns and prepositions. However, it does not actually teach us the definitions of those two words. In fact, neither word ever appears again at any point in the lyrics. The music video does have dictionary entries for those two words, but they appear very briefly, not long enough to read either one. Also, the next line seems to confuse grammatical errors with illiteracy. Then, early in the next line, there's a reference to a Doge tweet that that contains the what is it called? The words of a line being written in a very poor way. Annotated in the line tells someone to work on that grammar, even though none of the actual errors that were noted in the tweet have anything to do with grammar. Another point is that it gets into is the distinction between less and fewer, which I think is semi-valid. There is a distinction between countable and uncountable nouns that is very much real. For example, you say many people, but you don't say much people, and you shouldn't say something like much. But I think something like not as much people came here today as yesterday, that is something that you might encounter. And less people came here today than yesterday. Yeah, that definitely happens. So I think this is a bit of undue prescriptivism, but definitely no, you do not say fewer peanut butter is on this slice of bread than that one. That is just a no-go. You do not use fewer with uncountable nouns. Anyway, what is next? There's a line about using the right pronoun, but I don't know what that means. It also talks about the distinction between that it apostrophe s, a contraction of it is, and its, which is the possessive form of the pronoun it. First of all, it tells us that the word next it promises to give us notes about syntax that we're supposedly not getting right, but then immediately talks about the fact that the word espresso doesn't have an X in it, but that has nothing to do with syntax. It then talks about dangling participles, which I don't really know what that is. Then talks about the optionality of the Oxford comma, and then talks about writing the words B, C, R, and U as just the letters B, C, R, and U. But that has nothing to do with grammar. And another thing that it gets into is writing words using numbers, like using letters in place of numbers. So 1 for I, 2 for Z, 3 for E, that kind of stuff. But that is more of a style thing. It has nothing to do with grammar. The next stanza has no educational content whatsoever. It does get into homophones in the stanza even after that, but and then it talks about diagramming sentences, which is not something that I have ever encountered in an academic setting. The only two types of situations where I've ever encountered any sort of sentence diagramming is in the music video of this song and the Buffalo, 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 Buffalo Wikipedia article. Other than those, I have never seen any sentence diagramming. Not at school, not anywhere else. Next, it tells us that we should say to whom instead of to who, which is kind of cherry picking the only case in which any semblance of whom is still alive, and plus, most people don't say to whom are you writing this letter, they just say who are you writing this letter to. And so basically, whom, other than that niche case which people normally don't say, whom is completely dead, and this is kind of undue prescriptivism. Next, it says that we shouldn't use quotation marks for emphasis, and talks about the distinction between good and well. Specifically doing good versus doing well. Good is being used as a substantive adjective, and well is being used as an adverb. The picture for doing well is a rich person, and the picture for doing good is a superhero. It tells us that irony isn't the same thing as coincidence, and the misuse of the word literally, then the rest of the stanzas have no educational content whatsoever.